Hi, welcome to Trends Talk. I'm Brian Beaulieu. I'm the CEO of ITR Economics. I'm also an economist. And what I want to talk to you is a global perspective. It's one of the things that I really enjoy talking about when I'm out on the road doing presentations. ITR Economics, we have a great cadre of speakers. We are really all over the North American continent, giving talks 12 months out of the year. We also go overseas. And one of the favorite topics when I'm domestic is the size of the United States relative to the global economy. The U.S. is 24.3% of the world's economy based on IMF estimates, International Monetary Fund. The next largest economy is China at 15.0%. That's a pretty big gap. Number 3 is Japan. Japan used to be number 2, now they're number 3. Germany is number 4 at 4.6%, and then you get into some pretty small slices of the pie as you work your way down the overall pie chart. The U.S. has been the number 1 economy in terms of size on the planet for over 85 years now. And we maintain that we're going to be the world's number 1 economy for the next 100 years. There's no sense, absolutely no sense worrying about China overtaking us. It isn't going to happen. And as we scan the global horizon, there's nobody that has the ability to grow to our size for the foreseeable future. There are 3 things that matter when you look about just the world and you try and figure out who's going to catch up to us. Only 3 things. It's demographics, natural resources, and law. Demographics, if you have a growing population, you have organic economic growth. A growing population is so critically important to being able to grow the economy without relying on others. We're relying on trading partners. We have a growing population here in the United States. It's one of our strengths. According to government numbers, our own census numbers, about every 15 seconds is a new person in the United States. Every 15 seconds, boop, there's a new person. That's what happens when you net births, deaths, and legal, not illegal, just legal immigration. I call those boops, FCUs, future consuming units. And when you have FCUs in your future, you have a real good economic future. Now, it's true the whole planet's getting older, right? I mean, we all know that. But because of our FCUs, there comes a point in the not too distant future, it's about 15, 16 years down the road, when all of a sudden we're going to find ourselves, well, on average older than we are today. We're going to be looking so young compared to China, Japan, Europe. And that pretty much assures of us that we're going to be able to continue to grow. We're going to continue to spawn new industries. There's a big reset button coming. We'll have another Trends Talk about that reset button of the 2030s. I'm sure we will. But that's part of how our younger generation, the millennials, are going to come into power and how they are going to come into a lot of wealth, and they're going to drive changes and they're going to drive developments that you and I can't even begin to think about. China's population isn't growing. Japan's population isn't growing. Europe's isn't really growing. India has a growing population, but India is only 3.3% of the world's economic pie. They're small. With all, over 1 billion people, 1.3 billion people, they're still that small. Why? Because they lack the rule of law. They've got natural resources, but they lack the rule of law. In a future Trends Talk, we'll talk about how the natural resources play into this long-term view of the future. And another one after that, we'll sit down and we'll talk about how the rule of law factors in and how it impacts the different countries that, beyond what I've mentioned, is Brazil, Italy, Canada, Korea, Russia. They all are going to come into play when we think about these factors. But I just want you to know right now that this is the biggest and likely the strongest market we could participate in for the foreseeable future. 3 things you can take home from that or take away from listening to this Trends Talk. 1, Stop reading those articles that equate us to the Roman Empire or the Byzantine Empire or anybody else's empire. That we're not them, they are not us. We're looking good. 2, just want you to understand that you don't have to go far afield to find robust opportunities. They're here, where the culture and the language is pretty similar from coast to coast. And 3, if you have adult children living with you at home, kick them out. Honey, this is the best world that there is. This is the best economy you're going to find. I know you can make it. Is the message you're going to take home. This is Brian Beaulieu, CEO of ITR Economics. Just want you to know where we are and where we're doing business. Thank you very much for listening.